Today I'm going to talk to you about the Crazies from 1973, also from George A. Romero, which predates Dawn of the Dead and is a precursor to Dawn of the Dead, kinda. Synopsis of the story: basically, you've got a group of plane crashes, a military plane crashes in a water reserve of Evans City, and this plane holds a biochemical weapon called Trixie. And the military knows about this, and they start to send in companies after companies of hazmat suited soldiers with gas masks, and the people of Evans City don't know what the fuck is happening, and they're all getting quarantined, and they don't want to say what's happening because it still has to be a secret because it's a bio weapon, so it's sort of a hush hush thing. That's not just a virus to cure people. No, it's a bio weapon, so it's a hush hush thing. And George, Kim, and Clank, Artie, and Hannah, these five people escape and become the survivors slash refugees. Now, George was an ex-Green Beret, Clank an ex-infantryman, Kim was the nurse in the movie, and Artie is played by Dr. Frankenstein from Day of the Dead, which is cool. And his daughter is named Hannah. Now, the military arrives and is led by a colonel called Colonel Peckham. He has a scientist who also plays in Dawn of the Dead. If you noticed, if you've seen, I'm guessing that in both versions, the Argento version or the Romero version, he's in it. There's a news broadcast with a scientist with an eye patch. He's called Dr. Watts in this movie. I guess it's Richard Ferrari or something. I'm butchering his name. Richard Ferrari. So, but he's also in this movie. He's the maker of the virus. He's the guy who knows how to make an antivirus, but he doesn't have the equipment. They just took him ASAP and took him to Evans City, but he needs his lab equipment and he doesn't have it. He has to go to the school lab and do it with what he's do make it work with what he's got. It's really funny in this movie. He's always yelling at the soldiers and saying how incompetent this mission is. Dummies, dummies, you can stick this in my big fat ass. So like he's doing these quotes that's just really funny. He's also a little bit like that in Dawn of the Dead, but of course you've got the perimeters of Evans City, but these are all, more rural areas where houses are, where they have rednecks with guns. So they are kind of afraid that this military force is starting to look like an invasion force. And of course, the virus is in the water supply. So all these rednecks, or whatever you can call them, they, with their weapons, axes, and pitchforks, they become crazies. And they start to attack, of course. But in this movie, you have a remake in this movie, 2010, with Timothy Olyphant, which is more focused on him and his survivors and on the crazies. But the crazies in that movie are killing each other too, and only working with the strongest crazies together. In this movie, in the Romero cut, the crazies don't kill each other. The crazies have still a memory of who you are, And if they know who you are, they will not attack you, even when they're crazy. It's weird. Um, you have two kind of crazies. You have the crazy crazies. An example is you've got a soldier that comes in a house. He goes above, and there is an old lady sitting there knitting with her knitting needles. She politely, the soldier says, "You have to come with me, ma'am." She does it like this. She comes and stabs him 20 times with a fucking needle. The guy said, "I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding bad." I mean, yeah. And she goes back, she sits down and starts knitting again. So, and then you've got the crazies that are loony crazy. Like, you've got a bunch of crazies with weapons that are attacking soldiers, and the soldiers have to withdraw, and one is still alive but has a pitchfork in his arm and it can't move. It's being put in his arm and in the ground. And you've got one lady who's basically brooming the place with her broomstick. Just brooming. Yeah. Not attacking, but brooming. So you have two kind of crazies. Loony crazy and dangerous crazy. Now, you can see this movie for free, by the way, on YouTube. Takes an hour and 43 minutes. It has some gore in it, like I said, with the stabbing needle, and you've got a guy who gets his head blown off, and for the rest, there's not a lot of gunshots and things like that, and an axe in one guy's chest, and so a little bit amount of gore, but the thing is, it's Romero. I think, like I said, Romero he doesn't really care about the acting, in my opinion. He doesn't care about the tension, the atmosphere, the claustrophobic feeling, the feeling of doom and dread. You know what I mean? The locations. I think he cares more about that than having top-notch actors. And George, the Green Beret guy, acts good. Kim, okay. Clank is a little bit weird. And then, of course, Artie, Dr. Frankenstein, he's good too. But Hannah, his daughter, she has the bug, the virus early on, so but she doesn't do it. So it's a little hammy at points, okay? So, and especially the soldiers. The soldiers were basically high school students that George Romero recruited to be military soldiers. They all have hazmat suits on, gas masks, and I think the dubbing of their voices were only dubbed by a few guys, few actors. It's like it's always the same voice, and they're always talking over each other. Like, you got there, you look at there, kill it, whoa, whoa, there's a crazy. Okay, there's some money on the ground. Oh, I'm gonna take it. Yeah. So it's constantly, the dialogue is like it's over each other. So that's annoying. You got a few songs that are not really in place at some points in the movie. But what I did like was the fight for survival of these few refugees. You got George and Clank against the soldiers, because George is, and Clank too, an experienced ex-soldier, and it's fun to see them, going against the military and then also dealing with the crazies. But like I said, the focus is more on the crazies and the military, the survivors and the military. And in the remake, it's more on the crazies and the survivors, not so much on the military. But it's a classic. I think if you're a Romero fan, and the reason why I said it's a precursor to Dawn of the Dead is like, you know, the crazies, zombies, virus, you know what I mean? Takeover of a town, I mean, a little bit of apocalyptic, you know what I mean? A feeling there. So, yeah, I think you should watch it. Give it a chance. Like I said, it's free on YouTube. Uh, take the acting as it is. George has this funny unibrow, one brow, or what's it called? Yeah, couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was really distracting. Okay, but but it's an okay movie. It's, if you like Romero's older movies, and you're a Dawn of the Dead fan of his Dead trilogy, watch this. This has a little bit of that in there, and yeah, I think you're gonna have a good time. At least see it once. You know, for Romero, rest in peace. Right? Ciao.